Hi, good day everyone. In this presentation, we will discuss 3D geodetic network adjustment, a fundamental and powerful technique in geodetic engineering that enable us to determine highly precise three-dimensional position of survey stations through systematic, accurate processing of field data. We will focus on 4K aspects: its main purpose, required inputs and expected outputs, the type of least squared method used, and the step-by-step workflow that makes this process both reliable and exceptional. Next presenter, please.
So, what's the purpose of a 3D geodetic network adjustments? When we conduct field surveys, every measurement, whether a distance, angle, or azimuth, contains a random error. If we simply use these raw measurements to compute coordinates, those errors accumulate and produce inconsistent results. A 3D geodetic network adjustment solves this by combining all observations simultaneously and finding the best fit set of the coordinates that minimizes the squared residuals across networks. Unlike traditional 2D adjustments, this approach works directly in 3 dimensions, accounting for its curvature, elevation differences, and the full geometry of the ellipsoid. The result is a set of statistically optimal coordinates with quantifiable precisions.
Thank you, Miss. Thank you, Miss Baguhin, for discussing the introduction as well as the purpose of this 3D geodetic network adjustments. For my part, I will be discussing the inputs of these 3D geodetic network adjustments. First is the geodetic positions. The geodetic positions are approximate values of the latitude, which uses the symbol phi, the longitude, that uses the Greek letter lambda, and as well as the ellipsoidal height, h, for its station. These factors serves as the starting point for the iterative solution. The second is the slant distances, and these are the slope distances measured between stations with a total station or an EDM, and along with their standard deviations. The third is the horizontal angles. The horizontal angles includes the interior observed angles at each occupied station. The fourth is the zenith angles, and these are the vertical angles measured from the zenith downward to each target, which help define the 3D orientation of each line. The fifth is the azimuth. These are the geodetic azimuths of one or more lines, which fix the orientation of the entire network. The sixth is the elevation differences from differential leveling combined with geoidal height differences to relate orthometric and geodetic heights. All of this must be reduced to a common frame, the local geodetic coordinate system defined by the north, the east, and the components. Thank you.
So for the outputs of the adjustment are equally important. So the primary result is a table of adjusted geodetic coordinates, which is the refined latitude, longitude, orthometric height, and a geoidal separation n for every station. So alongside with this, we get the station statistics. So for each station, the semi-major axis, which represents the Sn, and the semi-minor axis, which represents the Se of the standard error ellipse, plus the orientation angle and the height standard deviation. So this describe how precisely each station's positions was determined. So we also got here our residuals, which represents the V for every observation. So these are the small corrections applied to the raw data. So take note, large residuals signal potential blunders. So for additional outputs, this includes the covariance matrix, which is the summation of NEU which captures correlations between coordinates, and the reference variance, which represents the SO squared, which tells us how well our stochastic model fits the data, which is ideally close to 1.0, and the error ellipsoids, which visualize the positional uncertainty in our 3D model. So for instance, from our lecture 13, the reference SO was or shows 2.019, which indicates a very good fit with only 2 iterations needed. So for more informations about the 3D geodetic network adjustment, we will proceed to the next slide.
Now, what type of least squares observation equation applies here? The answer is the parametric least squares method, also called the indirect or observation equation method. In this approach, each observation is expressed as a nonlinear function of the unknown station coordinates, written generally f of x plus v equals to observation L, where x represents the unknowns, v the residuals, and L the actual measurements. Because the equations involve trigonometric functions of coordinates, like cosine of azimuth or sine of zenith angle, they are nonlinear. We must linearize them using a first-order Taylor series expansion around approximate coordinate values. This produces 4 families of linearized observation equations, one each for slant distances, azimuths, zenith angles, and horizontal angles. Each equation has 6 to 9 partial derivative coefficients and a constant term equal to the observation minus the value computed from the approximate coordinates. All equations are assembled into the normal equation matrix. A transpose WA times dx equals A transpose W times L. This is solved for coordinate corrections, and the process repeats iteratively until the correction become negligible.
Uh, good day, everyone. So for today, I'll be reporting general workflow for 3D geodetic network adjustment. So now let's talk through the complete workflow of the 3D geodetic network adjustment broken down into 7 logical steps. So first is step 1, which is collect observations. So everything begins in the field. We gather all necessary geodetic measurements, slant distances between stations, using EDM or total station instrument, horizontal and zenith angles, geodetic azimuth for orientation, and elevation differences from differential leveling. Critically, each observation must come with an estimate standard deviation because this value will directly influence how much weight each measurement can carries in the adjustment. Without proper adjustments, without proper uncertainty rather, estimates the adjustments cannot be properly weighted. So basically no step 1 lang is of course collect observations, mga kuan nimo, mga field datas, of course, distances, angles, etc. So step 2 is assign uh, initial coordinates. So dari no kay is anything lang nga mga value sa initial coordinates. Pero kailangan close siya sa true nga value. Kay if dili siya close, so mas taas din imong iteration ana. So yeah, so step 2, set approximate coordinates. Before we can solve anything, we need a starting point. We assign initial geodetic coordinates. We have phi sub 0, lambda sub 0, and h sub 0. So meaning lang yung sub 0 kay initial na siya. Every station in network, these do not need to be perfect. They just need to be close enough for the for the linearization to work. So motayon ako nung dili siya need nga perfect because initial approximation naman siya kay makuha ra na nato iyahang true nga value through the iteration processes. So in practice, this comes from GPS observations, existing survey data, or even scale values from a map. The better the approximation, the faster the adjustment will converge. So yeah, if tsada ang kwan, or let's say kanang close siya sa true value is mas dali din mag-converge ang imuhang mga kwan observations. So step 3, establish tag mga constraint. Of course, importante si constraint kay para dili mag para mawala ang datum effect. Kay if natay mga if dili na to siya mga kuanan og constraint, mitabuan na is walay klaro nga orientation ato or wala siya bitaw baga. From the word constraint, pugngan dito siya. So wala siya kanang bitang reference kumbaga. Wala na akong idea na. Sako lang na idea. So mara siya if wala mo ni reference, wala mo ni siya constraint, so possible ang rotation na kanana na siya. Wala klaro nga wala klaro nga form. So a free network has no unique solution. So we need constraint to anchor it in space. For horizontal control, we fix the latitude and the longitude of at least one station plus known azimuth to define the network's orientation, or alternatively, fix the longitude of a second station. For vertical control, we assign known geodetic heights to a minimum of 3 benchmark stations using the relationship H is equals to big letter H plus N, where big letter H is the orthometric height and the N is the geodal separation. These constraints eliminate the datum effect and make the system solvable. Yeah. So step 4 is formulate and linearize. First, this is the mathematical core of the process. For every single observation, every distances, every angle, every azimuth, every zenith angle, we write a corresponding expresses that measurements as a function of the unknown station coordinates. Because these functions are non-linear, they involve trigonometric functions of latitude, longitude, and height. We cannot solve them directly. Instead, we linearize each equation using the first order Taylor series expansion around our approximate coordinates. This gives us the partial derivative coefficients which populate the design matrix A and the constant terms computed as the difference between the observed value and the value computed from the approximate coordinates. So, ang idea lang ninyo, no, kay since ang kanimang good siya si 3D, dili siya linear. So, gilinearize siya para mapadali ang pag-solve. So, sa pag-linearize, para magamit din siya sa atong matrix, which is ginakuha ilang partial derivatives and ginakuha pod ang difference sa which is katong K ba na? K, or let's say W or L. K, yeah, mga na. So, next is solve step 5 is solve and update. So, solve normal equations. ATWA dx is equals to ATWL. Update coordinates with corrections. So, yeah. Mo to siya, no, mag-solve na din ta sa iyahang dx ani. Kay may tabo man ani si ATWA is ma-inverse ni siya. So, may muna siyang n inverse ATWL na din na siya. So, makuha na to ang iyang x, which is at iyang dx. Tapos, muna din na iyang muna din iyang murag sa ko na kung kay dapat J dapat ni siya. Sige lang, nasayop rago ni siya pag input. Kay nag-iterate man ta, so Jacobian jud siya kay Taylor expansion man. So dapat JTWJ ni siya. JTWJ dx is equals to JTWL. Oh, so once ang makuha man din nato na is dx. So dapat si dx ani is ang nakuha na dx na to ni is ato siyang i plus or minus sa atong initial approximate coordinates. So with that, we go to step 6, which is check convergence. Repeat iteration until all coordinate corrections are negligible. So of course, i-repeat na tong kuan na to, no? Atong process, which is ang solve and update or solve and update. Kay dapat gamay na ato ang makuha nga dx ani, which is atong x. Kay once nga gamay ato makuha ani, kay ato man na siyang gina-add man na ato siya mo siya kanang mabalik ta pud siya ning solve and update. Check convergence. Solve and update ta po, check convergence na nang idea. So once nga ma-accept siya sa tolerance kumbaga, let's say itong tolerance kay 0.001, imo ding nakuha nga dx dira is equal to 0.01 or less than sa 0.01, so meaning nag-converge na siya. So mo-stop na siya. Dayon mo-stop na siya. Dayon matuloy na siya sa step 7, which is reports result. So once convergence is achieved, so tumain ako, we extract and report the final outputs, the adjusted geodetic coordinates for every station's longitude, latitude, orthometric height, and the judicial separation, along with the residual for each observation, which tell us how well each measurement fits the final solution. We also report the station statistics, including the standard error, ellipsis, the full covariance matrix describing coordinate precision and correlation, the reference variance as a overall quality indicator, and the 3D error ellipsoid for a visual representation of the positional uncertainty at each stations. These outputs together allow the geodetic engineer to fully assess the quality and reliability of the adjustments. So basically, no, si step 7 is just nag-evaluate siya sa atuang computation, or gina-evaluate niya siya sa mga geodetic engineer ang atuang data or atuang data nga outcomes sa atong computation. Kay of course naman tay mga residual covariance matrix inana, so mga statics man na siya, mga statistics man na siya, which tells us that how our let's say computations are reliable and accurate. So if gamay ang iyang let's say error or iyang kanang standard deviations, covariance, etc., error ellipsoids na. So basically reliable ang atong adjustment. So yeah, basically maura to siya tanan sa general workflow for 3D geodetic network adjustments. So for the next reporter, I would like to pass to the next reporter.
So, to summarize, the purpose of the 3D geodetic network adjustment is to determine the best fit three-dimensional coordinates for all survey stations by minimizing measurement errors simultaneously. And the inputs are geodetic position, slant, distances, and angle, azimuth, and elevation differences, all with standard deviation. And the outputs include adjusted coordinates, residuals, covariance matrix, errors, ellipsoid, and reference variance. The equation type is parametric least square, nonlinear observation equation, linearized via Taylor series, and solved by iteratively. iteratively. And the workflow follows 7 logical steps from data collection to final reporting, and that's all.
Thank you, Mr. Dizon. Remember, in surveying, accuracy is everything and perfection is within reach. You've mastered the formula for success. So apply these principles with confidence, innovation, and strict attention to data. Uphold the highest standards in your work. Think creatively to solve challenges and always strive to deliver results that meet and exceed expectations, aiming consistently for excellence and perfect outcomes in every project you undertake. Thank you, everyone.